Yo, it's Marty VR, and guys, we're finally doing it. The Play for Dream MR versus the Quest 3. So this is a battle for the ages. And now that the Samsung XR has finally been released and people are already doing reviews, I want to go ahead and do this one because I feel like the Play for Dream MR is still a very good contender in this space, even with the Samsung XR out. And before you guys say it, yes, I know this is a $2,000 headset versus a $500 headset. I'm not insane, guys, I promise you. This is an actual good comparison because the Quest 3 holds up in a lot of spots that you probably wouldn't expect it to. And so we usually have a PCVR focus on this channel, but this review is gonna be more broad. It's gonna cover every aspect of both of these headsets. So standalone games, ecosystem, all that. So all I ask you guys is just listen to everything I have to say and give it a chance because I think a lot of you guys are, like I said, gonna be surprised. And make sure you like and subscribe. I actually do have a Samsung XR review coming as soon as I get it next Friday. So I'm gonna put it through the paces of PCVR. So if you're in the comments asking about that, just know I got you. All right, let's get into it. Okay. Those specs. Let me just lay these out real quick because the difference is actually pretty wild on paper. The Play for Dream MR is rocking micro OLED displays, 3552 by 3840 for eye. That's basically almost 8K total resolution. It also has pancake lenses with 86 degrees vertical FOV and 103 horizontal FOV on paper. With that being said though, I personally measured 90 degrees vertical and 110 horizontal, which is good considering the competition that uses pancake style lenses and micro LED displays, especially in the price range. It's also running a full Android OS on a Snapdragon XR2 Plus Gen 2. We're also talking automatic IPD adjustment from 51 to 78 millimeters, eye tracking, hand tracking, color pass-through. Ooh, this thing is packed, baby. And it's also got a 50-60 milliamp per hour battery that charges fast with 30-watt power delivery. The kicker though, and honestly a deal breaker for a lot of people, is that it weighs about 650 grams, but I must say that with the way the head strap is set up, it is balanced very well. Gotta give it that. And honestly, it was to the point where I didn't realize the headset was that heavy. So what they do. And for the Quest 3, we're talking LCD displays that have a resolution of 2064 by 2208 per eye. The Quest 3 also has pancake lenses, but it does have, on paper, 110 degrees horizontal FOV and 96 degrees vertical FOV. Even though it says that on paper, personally, I measured 106 degrees vertical FOV and 100 degrees horizontal FOV. The Quest 3 also runs Meta's Horizon OS, which is pretty decent, but it is also way lighter at around 515 grams. It also has inside-out tracking that Meta's perfected over the years, with industry defining, and I must say amazing color pass-through, hand tracking, but sadly, no eye tracking. And just like the Play for Dream MR, it can also do standalone and PCVR. So yeah, on paper, the Play for Dream MR just destroys the Quest 3 with that micro OLED and higher resolution. But we do know that specs don't tell the whole story here, right? So let's keep going because we have a lot more things to break down. Build quality is actually really interesting because both of these headsets feel premium, but in completely different ways. The Play for Dream MR has this Apple Vision Pro-esque high-end tech kind of vibe. Like you pick it up and you see 11 cameras, 7 sensors, 22 infrared LEDs. This thing looks like it came from the future. The materials are solid, that MR dial on top is satisfying as hell to click, and everything just feels expensive. And for 2,000 of your oh so great dollars, it better be. It reminds me a lot of the Quest Pro, actually, and I loved the Quest Pro until the Quest 3 came out. The only thing I hate personally is that the head strap isn't removable. Now, I think a lot of people are gonna hate that because even with the Samsung XR just came out, same thing there. So I don't know, I don't get what it is about these high-end headsets having just non-removable straps, but I don't know. I feel like it would have saved so many people's experience with the headset, but we'll get into why I say that a little bit later. But speaking of the Quest 3's build quality though, Meta has obviously been doing this for years. And you can tell everything is refined, polished, dialed in, it's lighter, it fits together perfectly, and it honestly just feels like a product that has gone through multiple generations of improvements. It genuinely feels like they've worked out a lot of the kinks with their design, and by all means, it's really one of my favorite designs of a VR headset because of how easy and modular and just cool it is. Now, the base strap does suck actual butt, but it's cheap as hell to get a replacement, so can't be too mad, even though I would kind of want a better strap. To pick a winner, I kind of can't pick a winner here, to be honest with you. The PFD feels like a cutting edge prototype that actually works as intended, and the Quest 3 feels like the final form of years and years of evolution and a lot of invested monies. So I would say both are excellent in their own way, and I'm just gonna call it a draw. All right, so let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the money talk. This is probably where a lot of people are gonna click off this video or just make the decision anyway. Quest 3 starts at 500 smackaroons for 512 gigabytes of storage. That's honestly insane value when you think of everything it does. Standalone games, mixed reality, PCVR, solid track, and a huge library. That's an incredible deal for this 500 shillings. Now to play for Dream MR, 2,000 whole dollars. Yeah. 2,000. No refund policy either, which we'll talk about in a second. Now look, I get it. I totally get it. That's a lot of money. For most people, that's going to be a deal breaker right there. But, and you know, hear me out. High resolution micro OLED is just crazy expensive right now, any way you cut it. You're also getting included controllers, 9% protective cover, a premium power brick, and a lot of other things that add up to a really nice package. And so the question really is that worth 4 times the price of a Quest 3? For me, yeah, obviously, because I have the headset. For PCVR, for sure. For most people, probably not. The Quest 3 is probably a smarter buy for like 70% of VR users, but for hardcore enthusiasts or people looking for a Quest PCVR upgrade that might have had a Quest Pro and looking for something a bit stronger, it's an absolute no-brainer for the price. However, with all that being said, I got the Quest 3 winning in this category. That value for that price is just undefeatable, man. I'm sorry. And now we move on to return policy. This one's really easy. Quest 3 wins, no questions or doubts about it. Now, Meta gives you 30 days to return the Quest 3, no questions asked. Don't like it, just send it back, full refund, done. Now, for the Play for Dream MR, since it is a Chinese headset, there are no refunds, period. Unless it's defective, you are keeping it. But at $2,000, that's rough and very tough. I'm not a fan of that policy at all. Personally, I wish for a Western market, they would switch that around, because a lot of people will never touch this headset because of that policy. And it's a shame because it's a good headset. Now, I do get that different countries have different business practices, whatever, but for that kind of money, people need the option to return it if it doesn't work out for them, especially since there's nowhere over here you can try out a Play for Dream MR, like in a store or anything like that. Because even with the Apple Vision Pro, you can set up to go to an Apple store and actually test it out. So with a bunch of yapping done, the Quest 3 absolutely stomps them out here. This is going to be the hardest section of this video to break down because each side has a advantage and big disadvantage. So I'm gonna break this down. Starting off with the Play for Dream MR, that micro OLED display, absolutely gorgeous. Like, the blacks are perfectly black. The contrast is insane. Colors just pop in a way that LCD just can't match, respectfully. When you're in a dark environment in the game, you actually feel like you're there. And the clarity is just nuts. I can read every single dial in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 without my prescription inserts, which is pretty wild because my vision is terrible. The downside though, of these lenses is that they have ridiculously way more glare than the Quest 3. It's not terrible, but in high contrast scenes, you see it right away. Like, if you're looking at a bright object against a dark background, you're gonna see the reflection. There's also some slight chromatic aberration. It isn't to the point where it's a deal breaker for me, but it needs to be mentioned here so I don't get 1,000 comments about it in this video. The sweet spot for the lenses is also pretty decent. Not amazing, like maybe like a Pimax, lens or whatever, but I think it does pretty good. I personally have no issue. The only time it gets annoying is when you have to adjust the headset to get back into that sweet spot when you got like a custom strap, like a Bobo strap or something like that. But that's something I had to deal with, dealing with the headset without using a face gasket sometimes. The Quest 3 lenses though, man, Meta really put those billions of R&D dollars to work, baby. The edge-to-edge clarity is just better than the Play for Dream by a mile. Way less glare, bigger sweet spot. This is a more forgiving set of lenses overall. You don't have to be as precise with your positioning while wearing a Quest 3 because usually you can get to that sweet spot really no matter what. But with all that being said, it is still a LCD display. You don't get those perfect blacks or that punch that micro OLED gives. Now, it is a bright, vibrant, and very good LCD display, don't get me wrong, but it's just not micro OLED. And after using the Play for Dream for months, I went back for the Quest 3 for a video I did recently, a VR gun set that you guys should check out. It's really nice. And I felt very primitive. I felt like I went back in time to like the 90s, not gonna lie. So what does Mario VR prefer? Personally, I'll take the Play for Dreams display even with the glare and slight chromatic aberration, because those blacks, colors, and that contrast, it hits different, man. But I do have mad respect for Quest 3's lenses, because they generally do beat almost all other VR headsets lenses at this current moment. They're probably the best lenses in any consumer VR headset right now, hands down. And especially after all the money they put into it, I feel like I can definitely make that claim. They're damn near perfect, but they better be for all that money that Meta spent. Something else I need to mention is prescription lenses. The Quest stomps out the Play for Dream MR in this department because of the massive amount of options for suppliers and wide range of lens support. I have an insane amount of astigmatism in my eyes, and it shows in my prices for my prescription lenses. That's why for Quest, I usually go to vrrock.com, who is having a Black Friday sale. We can get 15% off, easy ordering, easier shipping, and the easiest business I've had to work with to get my lenses. I have 12 VR headsets, including the Samsung XR that's getting here next week. And VR Rock has helped me out with most of those headset prescription lenses because they're awesome. Use code MarduVR15 for 15% off for Black Friday. And if it's past Black Friday when you see this video, then you just use code Mardu for 10% off. For the Play for Dream MR, I actually had to get some prescription lenses made from VR Lens Lab because they literally could not make my prescription, which sucks. It's definitely a one-size-fits-all solution with the VR Lens Lab's lenses, but oh well. But I have talked to Play for Dream, and they are looking for someone in the VR space to handle lens manufacturing for them, but it's kind of hard when the lenses are so small to get that right. So to sum up, the winner for this section, the Play for Dream MR wins in terms of display, but the Quest 3 wins in terms of lenses. I hope you guys are keeping tally. Field of view is pretty straightforward. Play for Dream MR definitely wins here for me. I measured 90 degrees vertical and 110 degrees horizontal on the Play for Dream, and that horizontal FOV is some of the best for micro OLED VR headsets that I own, period. The Quest 3's FOV is also decent. I personally measured 160 degrees vertical FOV and 100 degrees horizontal FOV, which is definitely great for 99% of use cases. So yeah, personally, I like the Play for Dream's FOV more because it's wider in terms of horizontal. So I'm gonna pick Play for Dream MR here. I know a lot of you guys are probably gonna disagree with that, but it's my video. And now we gotta talk about performance. Now this is one of the hardest sections because these are two just very different headsets. But let's talk performance-wise for PCVR. Now, Play for Dream definitely has a few aces up its sleeve. Dynamic foveated encoding with Steam Link 2.0, which even the Samsung XR doesn't have yet, which is kind of crazy. And virtual desktop monster mode, which does not have dynamic foveated encoding, just to let you guys know. So basically with Steam Link and the eye tracking, the headset using foveated transport or dynamic foveated encoding to render full bandwidth where you're actually looking, which is amazing. This delivers pristine visuals free from artifacts and compression, and really, and I mean really ultra low latency. Never heard of foveated transport before this update, but this makes a massive difference. Like, I can't see the eye tracking anymore when I'm playing PCVR with the Play for Dream MR. Like, you can notice it before a little bit, but now that Steam Link 2.0 is out, I don't even see it. And it just looks so much better. Like, I haven't seen any artifacting or compression at all since this update. And as you know, with Steam Link, you can crank up the bit rate really high and get some really smooth and almost borderline DisplayPort level PCVR. Like, damn, I was shocked. So I'm running a 5090, but new games like Zero Caliber 2, which I've been playing a little bit, or even cranking settings to max, aka Ultra, and Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, it's all smooth as butter, and I was averaging 50 frames at Ultra with absolutely no issue. Now, the caveat here is that the PlayStation is a higher resolution headset and requires more power to get use out of PCVR. Now, I recommend a 40 series, maybe like a 4080, 4090, or even a 50 series to really make sense of buying a headset this strong. Now, the Quest 3 also performs really great. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a solid PCVR headset and held me down for years, but it is also pushing lower native resolution. which isn't a bad thing, but that means it does fit a wider range of graphics cards. Like I've used it with a 3070, a 4090, and a 5090 with no issue at all. If you got a beefy PC, the Play for Dream MR will use that power better and give you more bang for your buck. Now, if you got a mid-range PC, the 30 series to maybe like an early 40 series, the Quest 3 will actually be better for you to run because you're not trying to push that near 8K resolution. So here, especially for a higher resolution headset, I say the Play for Dream MR wins if you got the hardware to back it up. But that's only if you have the hardware to back it up. But like I said, I can only go off my use case, which has been with higher resolution cards, and I would pick the Play for Dream MR. Its performance has just been great with Steam Link 2.0. And I can't really go back. And so for our next section, which is tracking and controllers, this is where the Quest 3 just kind of demolishes the Play for Dream MR, and it's not even close. Meta's inside out tracking is damn near perfect at this point, and it works in bright rooms, darker rooms, really wherever. The controllers feel great, they're accurate, responsive, and they just work. And if you got the Quest Pro controllers, they literally track themselves. That's literally the best inside out tracking you can get in consumer VR right now. The Play for Dreams tracking is fine now. It works way better now than it did when I first reviewed it. I can actually play shooters with it way better now, but it's just not MetaQuest level. You'll lose tracking occasionally if you move your hands a little bit too fast or outside of the camera view. I do like the hand grip design of the controllers, but they don't come with any wrist wraps, and it's very easy for the controller just to slip out of your hand during very wild play sessions. One cool thing though is that they have these really neat LEDs on them that light up when you plug in the controller or just turn them on. And they are USB-C rechargeable, so that's really good. And I actually do appreciate that. This isn't really a knock on Play for Dream though, because Meta has literally had years and a lot of bread, like billions of dollars of bread, to perfect this tracking. And they also been reiterating on this tracking since the Quest 1, and it genuinely shows. But it's kind of crazy because all the VR headsets that I own, not many come close to that Quest level tracking, other than maybe the PSVR 2 or Lighthouse track controllers like the Valve Index controllers. So yeah, to sum up a lot of yapping, Quest 3 wins tracking and controllers really easy. So for comfort, Quest 3 wins by a mile. Look, neither headset is comfortable out of the box. I've never had a VR headset that was perfect stock, and I've had, well, 12 VR headsets. They all need mods, but the Quest 3 is just easier to make comfortable and a lot cheaper to make comfortable also. It's lighter at 515 grams versus the 650 for the Play for Dream MR. And if you throw a Bobo VR S3 Pro strap or add a global cluster facial interface, which I'll put in the description below, you're literally golden for hours. Like I can easily do 3 to 5 hours. Sometimes I've done like 7-hour sessions with no problem. Play for Dream is a whopping 650 grams. So it's quite a bit heavier than the Quest 3. And I'm also using a Bobo S3 Pro strap on it. And even then, it's not as comfortable as a modded Quest 3. The stock face gasket is honestly straight garbage. And if you got a Western face shape and even some of the Eastern face shapes, weren't really that lucky. Luckily for you guys now though, there are options you can buy now to make it a lot more comfortable, 3D printable options. And Play for Dream actually sent me a Western style face gasket that was actually really nice. After mods, I can wear the Play for Dream for about 2 to 3 hours, which is honestly impressive for something this heavy. But with all that being said, the Quest 3 is just effortless and you put it on and you forget about it. So yeah, Quest 3 wins comfort, no contest. In terms of audio, they're actually both pretty good. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Play for Dream has surprisingly nice speakers. They get loud, they sound good, and the mic quality is solid in my opinion. Totally usable for Discord or multiplayer games. The Quest 3's audio is also really good. It beats a lot of VR headsets. Not gonna replace a dedicated headset either. Me personally, I like using my Astro A50Xs, but honestly, both are really good, so I'm gonna call that a tie. And now we gotta talk about ecosystem. Now, this is where I've got strong opinions. So the Quest 3 has Meta's whole ecosystem, right? Where it's huge, everything's polished, updates come regularly, and for the most part, everything just works most of the time. PCVR is through AirLink, Virtual Desktop, Steam Link 1.0, and link cable, everything's solid. But the thing I absolutely despise about Meta's ecosystem is the fact that Horizon Worlds is constantly being shoved in my face. I personally don't want Meta's social platform shoved at me every time I put on the headset. The walled garden approach is also very frustrating. And yeah, sometimes updates can break PCVR stuff, which is mad annoying. The Play for Dream MR though is Android based, completely open. You can literally do whatever you want on there. I can sideload whatever APKs I want. Now you can't do this on Quest 2, but you don't have to use side quests, and there's just a lot more options for manipulating your headset all the way down. Like, you really can do anything with a headset that you want to do. I literally read manga, use Discord, watch movies. I mean, you can even customize your pass-through settings or just resolution frame rates. It's just, I feel like it's my headset and there's no Horizon Worlds in my face. Now, the ecosystem isn't perfect, don't get me wrong, and I totally recognize that, but it's just so much goddamn cleaner and a lot less bloat. So in my personal opinion, I'm gonna give this to the Play for Dream MR by a mile. That open Android system that speaks to my soul, but I respect that the Quest 3 has years of polish as a OS and just as an ecosystem that you just can't ignore, but that's not enough for me. I'd rather get it from somewhere else. Sorry, Zuck. For my standalone gamers out there, this is not even a competition. Quest 3 wins hands down. The Quest store is massive and very hard to compete with. Like, I don't even think anyone in the standalone space can really compete with Quest in terms of their catalog, but Beat Saber, Asgard's Wrath 2, Resident Evil 4 VR, Assassin's Creed Nexus, and even Deadpool VR coming out really soon. I could keep going all day. You can grab the headset, play for hours, and never ever touch your PC. The Play for Dream standalone library is basically non-existent right now. There's a few games on there, but it's just a brand new platform and devs haven't ported over their games yet. Hopefully with this Samsung XR push that devs are doing, we can figure out some way to get those games on the Play for Dream MR somehow. I'm hoping that this changes eventually, but as of right now, there's just not much there. If standalone gaming is the end all be all for you, obviously the Quest 3 is gonna be your choice in this matter. So yeah, Quest 3 wins. All right, so this is where I personally specialize, and that is PCVR gaming experience. For PCVR, this is where the Play for Dream MR really shines. I think most of you guys will probably get it for this reason. Monster mode with virtual desktop gives me full near 8K resolution wireless. It looks almost identical to wired headsets in the price range like the Crystal Super or the Mega Next Superlight 8K. As of right now, on my Play for Dream MR, I'm playing games exclusively with Steam Link, and I cannot believe how great it looks for being wireless, especially with the foveated encoding. Everything comes together for the best wireless PCVR experience I've ever had, hands down. I've been playing Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 for the past few months, and the Play for Dream MR literally helped make me fall in love with flight sims earlier this year. I can read every instrument, the view is insane, and even with the graphics cranked up to ultra, it's just very smooth. Now for the Play for Dream MR, you have the option of Play for Dream's PCVR software, virtual desktop, Steam Link 2.0, USB-C plugin, or ALVR. And even with all that being said, the Quest 3 is still amazing for PCVR, a real beast for the price range. It's what I used for years and I still love it. Virtual Desktop and Steam Link 1.0 are amazing, and while I don't use the other options that much, AirLink and Link Cable both work really well. But you're just not getting the same level of visual quality or immersion as using the Play for Dream MR. That LCD display feels archaic after using micro OLED for a while. If PCVR is your main thing and you've got the budget and with a beastly PC, the Play for Dream MR is the move, hands down. All right, so let's wrap this up. Who should buy what? Get the Quest 3 if you want the best value in VR, if you care about standalone games, if you need perfect tracking, if you want something comfortable and very refined out of the box. If you don't want to tinker, if you want a return policy, and honestly, if you're a normal person who just wants good VR at a decent price, get the Quest 3. Get the Play for Dream MR if you want the absolute best wireless PCVR visuals under $2,000. If you love that open Android ecosystem and you have a high-end PC and don't mind modding for comfort, also if you're okay with $2,000 and no refunds, and finally, if visual quality and clarity is your #1 priority over everything else. For me, the Play for Dream wins with a slight edge. That micro OLED display and Monster Mode and Steam Link 2.0 have completely changed how I experience PCVR. But I totally get why most people should just probably buy Quest 3. It is a smarter choice for probably 70% of people. All right, guys, that's the breakdown. This one was a tough one. This was a lot of debating in my head, a lot of back and forth, a lot of Discord messages. Yeah, it was a lot. What do you think? Are you Team Quest 3 or Team Play for Dream MR? Let me know in the comments below. Give all your feedback for both of these ecosystems if you tried them both. please, if this video has helped you, hit the like button and subscribe. Every single one of you gets us closer to 20,000 subscribers, and I appreciate you. It's been your boy Mark VR, and remember, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.